Hello, good evening and welcome to Prime Business. Coming up, $5 million for grabs in the second phase of COVID-19 SME Grant. Plus, Cocoa Board embarks on a roadshow in Europe to raise about $1.3 billion for 2022 and 2023 cocoa crop season, a move that will bring in dollar inflows to shut down cedi depreciation. Now, over 100 exhibitors gear up for this year's edition of the EcoBank Joineys Habitat Fair, which begins tomorrow at the Accra International Conference Center. My name is Beverly Broohm. Please stay for details. Hello and welcome. Let's settle for the details now. The Ghana Enterprises Agency will be opening an online portal for application to the second phase of the COVID-19 grant for small-scale businesses. The second phase, which is targeting about 400 SMEs, is aimed at disbursing some $5 million as support fund to businesses suffering from the negative impact of the pandemic. Here's a report.
The Ghana Enterprises Agency's SME grant scheme is entering a second phase after a successful implementation of the first, which benefited almost 400 businesses. An additional $5 million will be granted to small and medium enterprises. Chief Executive Officer of the agency, Kosi Yankee Aye, told journalists that the impact on the previous scheme was very positive.
A program which is the Ghana Economic Transformation, the COVID Response Grant, and then this is what has been set up to support SMEs who have been negatively impacted by various things within the country or externally as well, because as you are aware, many businesses are struggling through the different challenges that are happening across the nation, across the continent, across the whole world. People who've been impacted positively and those who've been impacted negatively. I think the bottom line is to see resilience and businesses that have the potential to transform the economy and the nation, and those who have the capability to actually create employment as well, so that we can actually deal with some of the challenges of job creation.
As part of measures to increase awareness about the second grant scheme, the agency has been engaging some businesses at a forum in Accra. Some of them spoke to Joy Business.
I was really affected because I had to lay a lot of my workers off. I couldn't pay them, so it really affected my business. Yeah, we need to expand the business and also to train other people to create employment. Yeah, so once the business expands, you employ other people, and then they also get on their grounds. Yeah.
Expectation is that when we apply, we would win. But then even if we don't get it, we would want to know what went wrong and how to improve on applying next grants. Yes, because it's important to know what you did wrong, so you sit down and correct certain mistakes you made. So that is my expectation, that I will apply. If I win, fine. But if I don't win, I want to know what happened and what went wrong.
The second phase of the scheme will focus on export firms and women-led businesses.
Now, the Ghana Cocoa Board has begun a roadshow in Europe to raise about $1.3 billion for the 2022-2023 cocoa crop season, a move that will bring inflows of dollars into the economy to slow down the depreciation of the cedi. A statement from the organization also said the light cocoa crop season will end on September 8th. The following report has more.
The announcement kickstarts the preparation for the main crop season. The main crop season, which starts from October to May, is the period within which the regulator buys most of the cocoa beans from farmers for export. The light crop season, which concludes the crop season, is used mainly to supply cocoa beans to local processors. The statement added that in order to assist license buying companies to obtain the final returns from the hinterlands, Cocoa Board has decided that returns on the declared purchases will be accepted up to 4 p.m. on Thursday, 15 September. Meanwhile, a team from Cocoa Board, Bank of Ghana, and the Ministry of Finance are currently on a roadshow in the UK as part of preparations to raise about $1.3 billion for the next crop season. The funds, which will be used to purchase cocoa beans for the 2022-2023 crop season, is also expected to boost dollar supply to the economy to reduce the exchange rate pressures on the cedi.
Aviation expert Shawn Mendes has applauded the move taken by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority to suspend a Delta plane with registration number N195DN from flying to Accra. The warning, which is contained in a letter dated August 19, 2022, addressed to Delta Airlines, follows an event on August 1, 2022, in which aircraft was forced to return to gate due to the technical problem hours after it took off. Speaking on the marketplace, Mr. Mendes said the sanction shows the GCAA is firm on maintaining basic aviation requirements.
Well, I think GCA is doing exactly what their job is. They are the safety regulator in Ghana, and it's their job to ensure that all aircraft operating in Ghana are properly certified and are safe. This particular Delta Airlines aircraft, N195 Delta November, has in the last month or so had at least 3 and possibly as many as 5 major incidents which have resulted in the aircraft being grounded or diverted. Some of those have been on flights to Accra, some have been on flights to Prague and Lisbon. So this is not something that's isolated just to problems happening on the Ghana route. There was something wrong with that aircraft for sure. I don't doubt that Delta is trying to get to the bottom of what the issue is, but GCA had requested Delta after the incident on 1st of August to provide them with the root cause analysis of what was causing these problems, as well as details of the remedial action. My understanding is that Delta has delayed in providing that response to Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, and until Ghana Civil Aviation Authority is satisfied that the appropriate action has been taken by Delta, they are perfectly within their rights, and in fact they're exercising their responsibilities by ensuring that aircraft does not continue to operate to Ghana in the interim.
Government has been urged to properly streamline Ghana's tax infrastructure to bring in the needed revenue in order to address revenue shortfalls in the economy. According to a fiscal policy specialist at Oxfam Ghana, Dr. Alex Ampabeng, government's attempts to have an efficient tax regime has not worked as expected. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of a maiden national tax forum, Mr. Ampabeng advised the authorities to desist from treating tax collection as an emergency venture.
The design of Ghana's tax system is a crucial issue for policymakers. This is especially true in light of a challenging fiscal outlook. Much of the growth in Ghana's tax revenue since 2000 has come from increased corporate and personal income tax as well as VAT. According to Dr. Ampabeng, government should look into expanding the tax system.
I think the challenge we have in Ghana has been, we normally see taxes more of an emergency, and therefore we want a quick fix instead of designing a proper tax infrastructure system. And by this I'm making reference to a number of taxes which we have implemented in the past, for which, because we didn't have the right structures in place, we've not been able to get the needed revenue from it. Or also looking at some important tax handles which we could have roped in to generate revenue, for which we are not getting. A good example is a property tax. Currently, we don't really have a proper national way of administering property taxes. Recently, the Minister of Finance in the budget, they talk about the Unified Common Platform. So 2022, we are now looking at how to tax our properties. Whereas other countries, this has been forming part of their national budget for years. As I'm talking to you, within the Eurozone, property tax contributes over 5%, or 4 to 5% of their GDP. You come to Africa, I think it's around 1%. But in Ghana, as we heard here today, only 9% of our properties have been captured for tax purposes. So the question is, where is the remaining 91%? We need to have a system in place to be able to capture, assess, evaluate, and identify property owners to be able to send their invoices to them.
Dr. Joseph Obin, president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, called for transparency and a system devoid of leakages in the country's tax system.
Yeah, it's very true. Like I said at the platform, that there should be fairness in the tax administration. The tax system should bring parity and fairness. Where there's discretion and all that, like in the case of La Bianca and all that, then people, there's a loophole that people take advantage and all that. It doesn't help anybody. So if the tax administration or the tax system is such that everybody is paying the same, that there's no cost for anybody to even cut corners, then of course we are getting there. But having said all these things, if the taxes are not affordable, the compliance level become very difficult. People do not find it difficult to comply because they cannot pay. Sometimes the taxes that we pay here is quite extortive, and that's why the issue of the benchmark argument came, because we have to meet with government and say that the duties that we pay in this part of the world is too much.
In a cross-country study by Robert Kosu for ECOWAS countries in 2021, Ghana's average tax revenge leakage to GDP from 2001 to 2015 was quantified at 1.7%.
Two other stories now. Ghana's non-traditional exports for 2021 amounted to about $3.3 billion, reflecting an increase of about 17% over the 2020 earnings of $2.8 billion. More from the Ashanti Regional Branch Manager of Ghana Shippers Authority, Isaac Tessa, in this report.
The Ashanti Regional Branch Manager of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Isaac Akwe, made this known at a sensitization program organized by the Ghana Shippers Authority and the Bank of Ghana for exporters in the northern region. The sensitization program was to increase the awareness on the letter of commitment LOC requirements. It was also to educate them on the procedures involved, promote compliance, as well as identify challenges associated with the implementation of the LOC. He said non-traditional export contributed about 70% to the national merchandise export for 2021.
A chunk of Ghana's non-traditional exports, such as horticultural products, emanates from Ghana's middle belt to the northern parts of the country. And the northern region particularly is noted for handicrafts and mainly for shea butter and shea butter related products. It is important to mention that Ghana's non-traditional earnings for the year 2021 amounted to about $3.3 billion United States dollars, and it represents an increase of about 17% over that of 2020.
Mr. D.A.C. Akwe said the Ghana Shippers Authority received several complaints from exporters and some custom house agents on challenges of the LOC reason for the workshop.
Engagement with exporters on various platforms brought to the fore concerns such as inadequate time allocated for the repatriation of export proceeds, blocking of subsequent export transactions for non-repatriation of proceeds beyond 60 days, delays in accessing repatriated proceeds from commercial banks, low exchange rates offered by the banks compared with the rate applied by shipping service providers. The Ghana Shippers Authority, flowing from that, intervened by creating platforms in various regions for Bank of Ghana officials to provide information and to sensitize exporters on LOC.
Speaking on the sidelines of the program, Deputy Director of the Bank of Ghana, Eric Kweku Hammond, called on exporters to comply with the LOC requirement to avoid facing the law.
This bit of the program is meant to further sensitize the exporters to make sure that they come to terms with how the system works and how it is to be used, and then also get the opportunity to hear at first hand all the challenges and the difficulties that they are facing, and then also to be able to prefer a solution to the numerous challenges confronting them.
Now, as part of measures to support startups to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the United Nations Development Programme has set up the Timbuktu Initiative, a bold public-private partnership initiative aiming to invest $1 billion in catalytic and commercial capital in the next 10 years. Speaking to Joy Business Chief Innovation Officer for Regional Bureau of Africa, Dr. Elihini Madhin, said this is to build a distributed innovation network to cushion small businesses.
The ambitious vision set by Timbuktu is to galvanize Africa's tech and tech-enabled startups. According to Dr. Madin, the aim is to nurture startups to form partnerships for global investment.
The world is starting to recognize the African talent. We see venture capital funding coming into Africa growing double on double. In fact, last year, 2021, it quadrupled over 2020 levels. So what we're trying to do at UNDP is sort of look at what can we do to improve on this really good trend? What can we do to leverage it and to diffuse the benefits to the entire continent? So with Timbuktu, what we're aiming to do is solve really three problems. The first is how to increase risk capital that can finance innovation, which is by nature risky. The second is what we're trying to do is bring in all the players in the ecosystem, universities, research centers, talent pools, the incubators and accelerators, as well as the finance side.
Country Director for the United Nations Development Programme, Angela Lusigi, said the initiative will help startups attract investors.
I think this is an excellent opportunity for young Ghanaians who have innovative ideas using technology to be able to access not just funding, but also knowledge and expertise on how to grow their businesses to scale. Because we know there are some opportunities right now, and this is the reason why Ghana is one of the countries that is being looked at, is because there is already a thriving ecosystem support for small businesses. Through this initiative, we are looking at growing these small businesses to scale. So we're looking at innovative ideas that can really transform the opportunities for young Ghanaians, not just in Ghana, but across Africa.
Timbuktu is a new approach for UNDP in line with a vision for a future smart Africa that transcends old development paradigms.
The Managing Director of Bank of Africa, Kobi Anda, has expressed confidence that the current economic situation, which poses high risk of lending, will not last for long. According to him, banks have no option than to implement the various measures taken by the central bank to control the rising inflation and slow down the depreciating cedi. He told Joy Business that although it's a difficult situation for both banks and customers, the challenges will soon be over.
You know, the present economic situation presents a dilemma for banks in asset allocation. The decision you make is whether you should go for government securities, the yields there are very high, or you should go for what banks are typically formed for, that is to mobilize deposits and stimulate the economy through lending. The present situation presents enormous risk on the lending side. Interest rates are high. With the current rate of treasury bills, 28.5, etc., you can't lend below that. So a typical good corporate will be borrowing at 30%. Your worry is, can they use this lending at this cost productively and be able to pay you back? But we also understand what Bank of Ghana needed to do to kind of hold back inflation, kind of prevent another investment avenue, to prevent people from considering the dollar as a store of value and thereby stabilizing the cedi. I think it's a storm we need to ride. I don't think this storm will last too long. And I'm sure if you look at the financial results of banks that were published on a quarterly basis, there's still a strong allocation of assets in private sector lending. So we'll be cautious, we'll be more cautious. We might factor in the risk into our pricing, but we'll still support the economy.
Factoring in the risks into your pricing doesn't mean that the current rate that has been announced, you are quickly going to move into start implementing?
You know, there's an automatic formula in what we call the GRR, which is a factor of the monetary policy rate, treasury bill rate, and other factors. So definitely, if the monetary policy rate has gone up to 21%, lending, the GRR will go up and lending will reprice.
Now, organizers of this year's EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair are poised to provide solutions to bridge Ghana's housing deficit. This according to the head of sales and marketing here at the Multimedia Group Limited, Max Fuga. Now, speaking to Joy Business, he said about 100 exhibitors have been registered to join the event and willing to provide ceiling housing solutions to potential homeowners.
2 successful clinics. The main fair for this year's Habitat Fair will take place from Wednesday 24th of August to Sunday 28th of August at the Accra International Conference Center. We'll be there from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. And as I speak to you now, we have registered close to 100 exhibitors. Because of the constraint of space, we can't go more than 100. And so we have registered close to 100 exhibitors. I'm sure by Wednesday, we should have achieved the target that we have set for ourselves. For us, Habitat Fair, and the main Habitat Fair, is easily the biggest sales and marketing platform for housing professionals, advocates, lenders, insurers, administrators, and policymakers to showcase their products and services or to communicate directly to their target audience. We are expecting 100 exhibitors. We are also expecting over 10,000 visitors to the site, to the exhibition this year. Not only that, we are expecting over 10 million people to follow us on our various channels and social media handles. And so it is the biggest platform for anybody to take advantage of to market his or her services or to market his products or services. So exhibitors this year will be excited. Exhibitors this year will have the chance to market to over 10,000 people for the 5 days that we're going to be there. And then also market to over 10 million people who will follow us on our various radio, TV, and social media channels.